Clap sync. Clap sync, clap sync. 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody, Chris Raygun here. Welcome to another episode of Glasses Off, the show where we forego the crazy editing and zany antics to just talk about something for a little while. Feels weird to be here again after all this time, I gotta say. Today I want to talk about something that has been frustrating me for quite some time, and I really hope that I'm not alone in this, because this is easily the kind of topic that a lot of people could be like, man, Chris, what the fuck, just relax. It's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal to me. If you've been on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram at any point in the last, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, you've probably noticed a bit of a shift in the language that content creators are willing to employ on these platforms, specifically in content related to true crime, or just the news, or any kind of sensitive issue. You might have noticed people saying unaliving or unalived instead of killed, murdered, or suicide. You might have noticed people saying graped or SA'd instead of raped or sexual assault. Guys, I'm not even joking when I say this, and this is really what ultimately made me want to sit down and record something. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I saw somebody use the word cornucopia instead of homophobia. I cannot allow this. Now, that's not to say some of these euphemisms aren't entertaining, okay? I will admit, PDF file instead of pedophile, that's pretty funny. Or at least it was funny the first, maybe 4 or 5 times I heard it. It's a little played out now, but it's at least amusing in comparison to the rest of these. Although I don't know what's wrong with saying offed himself or things like that, like other euphemisms that we've had already for quite some time. Whatever, it's beside the point. Now look, I'm not an idiot, entirely. I know that these words are flagged in the algorithm, and content creators are just employing these weird, awkward euphemisms to protect themselves. I understand that. They don't want to miss out on potential profits just because they wanted to make silly, fun little videos about the most traumatic moments in the lives of complete strangers. And you know what? If I'm looking at it from the perspective of a sociopathic demon, I understand. Personally, though, and this is my opinion, this is a fucking putrid way to operate as a human being. For all the hysteria I see online about artificial intelligence and how it's going to ruin all of our art by removing the human element that makes art valuable to interact with in the first place, we sure are quick to sterilize the human experience to appease an algorithm as long as it's going to net us a few extra bucks. Oh wow, this complete stranger was viciously fucking raped and I want to make a video about it, but I don't want to make anybody too uncomfortable because I want to make a little bit of money. Here's a thought. How about you say the words and treat the situation with the respect that it deserves to be treated with, or you don't fucking talk about it. It reminds me a lot of this George Carlin bit that I used to listen to a lot about the softening of language.
And the pain is completely buried under jargon. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll bet you if we'd have still been calling it shell shock, some of those Vietnam veterans might have gotten the attention they needed at the time. I'll bet you that.
And you know what? It wouldn't even be that big of a problem if this kind of shift in language just remained on the platforms that have the strictest guidelines. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be so big of a deal if it just kind of stayed on TikTok where the algorithm is particularly strict. But the thing that actively bothers me as a human being is that I see this language bleeding out, not only just to other platforms, but just in the way that people communicate on a day-to-day with each other in person. Dude, I've heard younger people just in conversation with each other say unalived and SA'd. You're not gonna get flagged. You're talking to other human beings about serious shit. It's fucking crazy. And I think it's actually bleeding out into everyday in-person vernacular because it is the most common way to talk about these things on the platforms that have the most eyes on them. And it's the way that people talk about those things on those platforms that young kids are learning language through. Let's be real, dude. If you're if you're a parent today, chances are your kids are on fucking TikTok and they're probably learning how to communicate with each other through that. And so that's really what's frustrating about it. It's not just that social media and the way that we talk about really dire, serious shit on social media is being like softened for the sake of advertiser dollars. It's also the fact that the ubiquity of that language and the ubiquity of that way of talking about it is bleeding into the way that we talk to each other in real human life about real human experiences that now have the gravity and the seriousness and the humanity of those serious topics completely like sucked out and milked completely out of it. It's gross to me. And maybe I'm looking super deep into it. Maybe I'm like reading too much into it. But I really think it's fucking disgusting. I think it makes us talk past each other. I think it makes us not take each other as seriously. I don't know. To put it simply, I think to dress up the darkest facets of the human experience in childish costumes is to rob them of their weight, and I'm just kind of fundamentally opposed to it, especially in the content creator space, where I actually feel like there's no good reason to do that, actually. Because there's a lot of creators who engage in this kind of thing. There are a lot of creators who will use graped and essayed and unalived, but they're like content creators who upload every day. Like, so, and not every single one of their videos is about things like this. Like, oh, big deal, one of the 30 videos you uploaded this month is gonna get dinged. Boo fucking who? Do you know how infrequently I upload on this channel, and when one of my videos gets dinged, I generally just take it on the chin? Nearly every episode of the Snark Tank podcast is completely demonetized because we talk like fucking real people on it. And despite those monetization dings, we still make damn good money doing it. Could we make a little bit more if we talked like robots? Maybe, but we don't need to. And that's ultimately the thing. None of the people sterilizing themselves in this way actually need to do it. You know, what really drives me crazy is like the chud channels that'll do this. You know, the so-called anti-SJW channels that like took the torch from our generation and ran directly into the fucking gutter with it. Oh, we're so counterculture, man. We tell it like it is. Never capitulate to the mob, man. Meanwhile, you go to their video and guess what? It's essayed, it's graped, it's all the same fucking shit. Because again, God forbid one of my daily videos, one of my many, many daily videos gets dinged. Oh, I can't have that. I can't have that 1% hit to my fucking ad rev. Like, of all the people that you would expect to not do that, you'd think that they would do it. You know, like, free speech, bruv. No. Not even then. You know, George Carlin had the balls to literally get arrested for the jokes that he told, but like, no, I don't want to have a demonetized video. That's crazy. Why would I take on that personal risk? What's frustrating too is that a lot of the videos that I see that do use this language have sponsors attached to them, like integrated into the video, which means they don't even really have to worry. It's my biggest pet peeve right now, I think. I don't know, dude. I know a lot of people who do this stuff. I've seen it, and I get it. I get the logic behind it. I understand what you're doing. I guess the only question that I would ask is it really worth it? Like, should we really be contributing to the sterilization of the human condition by, like, softening this language and you know, robbing it of all of its weight just to please a bunch of ones and zeros and maybe have another $1,000 at the end of the year? Like, I don't know. I would argue not. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because maybe I am just way too serious about it. Maybe I gotta lighten up. Maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. I feel pretty strongly about this, but I'm curious about how the audience feels, because I really don't know. I haven't really even talked with many people in person about this, so I really have no feedback at all. I have no temperature gauge on how the world feels about this at large. I have no idea. So leave a comment. I'll be reading them. And leave a like if you can. That's, appreciated in the algorithm. And, if you are a fan of content that is not afraid to, speak like people do, maybe pop on over to the Patreon. I'm going to be retooling it pretty fucking soon. I don't typically like doing that. I don't like saying, hey, leave a like, comment, go to this thing. I don't like saying that, but statistically it does work. I don't understand how, but it does. That's going to be it for me today. I'm going to get back to playing Stalker 2 because it's exactly my kind of broken mess. And I'll catch you next time. I love you. Be careful, be good, and behave. Bye-bye.